I'm going in. If you can just not go, any of those noises so it cuts me out, that'd be great. Oh my God, he's doing it.
I could put you in the brig for what you've done, but I won't do it.
Talking Dicks Comedy Podcast. We are the spinoff podcast from the web series The Two Dicks, now live on YouTube. We're not live. It's been there. There's a bunch of episodes, 15 of them. I am Al Ducharme, Studio City, California. That right there is Al Romas with the cobalt blue background sunset from a cruise ship somewhere in the Caribbean Ocean.
Yeah, I took that one a couple days ago. I don't know where. And today we're in Freeport, Bahamas.
Hold your nose.
Who knows? Yeah. It's a port. It's just a port, and I guess they get a bunch of deliveries.
It's a shipping port.
Stock up the ship, and let people go. There's supposed to be some nice beaches. Not that I'd know. The ship doesn't want me off yet, so I'm still going on 3 months, sir.
It's kind of like
stowaway.
It's a little bit of a white collar crime prison sentence you have there. There's no barbed wire. You can walk off, but you have to serve your time. And if you do walk off, then they're going to put you in the big house with the big criminals.
Yeah, no, I can walk off and that's it, and not make another dime, or I can stay on and continue to be subsidized and do some shows. And it's gone. I mean, look, it's halfway done. I mean, this whole thing is already basically halfway done. So I do it again, what I just did, and then I'm out of here and back to reality, which will be strange.
You're at the halfway point.
I've been out of the country this whole time. I have not been in the USA. I haven't driven a car. Haven't, all these normal things that people take for granted.
Do you know that after 90 days, you surrender your citizenship that President Trump put into place, and Biden's trying to overturn that? So hopefully.
I'm going to be in the cage. I'll be in the cage. Damn.
With a foil blanket, and you're going to be freezing.
Yeah.
Rolling in your own feces.
Well, that's nothing new. I got to tell you this thing from hey man, I've been here 90 days. I gotta make it interesting. You know what I mean? So
I hear you.
Whatever, you want to roll in a feces, what the fuck? Go for it.
Just say you were going for a Jason Pollock look. That's all.
That's who? Oh, was it Jackson or Jason?
It was Jackson.
Thank you.
I flubbed it. I flubbed it.
No, when you said it,
I can't get a flub by you. I can't get one flub by you. You pointed out. You say, "Oh, that was horrible." No, I couldn't let that go.
That's what I'm here for. But I did give you the correction last week. I did say you were right. I was wrong about Mark Twain going to Bermuda. So
in his latter days, I was recovering. Yeah, well, not recovering.
Believe me, I wasn't going to do it. I was like, I read it and I go, fuck that. I don't have to tell him. And then I thought, I should tell him. Guy's right. When he's right, he's right. He's not right often. So let me tell him when he's right. And
I'm not fighting you. I'm not fighting you on that. That when I'm right, I'm right. But as you said, it's not all that often, or as often as I'd like.
I got to tell you this one, man, and you'll hopefully, I don't know if you can relate to this one or not, but you probably can. Most comedians, I think, at some point in their life. I did 2 shows last night. These are the welcome aboard shows. So again, we're still about 120 people in the theater of 900 or 1,000 seats, and it's all reserved, and they're just scattered around. But whatever, it's week 5, getting used to it. So anyway, I do the 35-minute show, and it's going fine. Everything's fine, but I'm not fully in my head. I'm kind of looking like, hey, what am I going to do later? Maybe I'll get a drink, maybe I'll get a cigar, whatever. So I go into the last bit, doing it. Everything's fine. And the last line is, the big punch line. And then I go, good night. Have a great cruise. See ya. So I do the last line. I go, as I'm about to say good night, usually that's over a laugh. It is so silent in there. It couldn't be more quiet. The punchline falls. It's like almost I was pranked where they would say, hey, don't laugh at the guy's punchline. This is like, we're going to goof on the comedian. That's how quiet it is. So I'm like, blah, 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 blah. Good. And as I'm about to say good night, it's just dead silence. There's nothing to talk over. There's no applause. And I just put the mic in the stand and I stand there. And it's fucking quiet, man.
Where's the cruise director? Where's the cruise director? No music?
He's backstage. He's waiting. Usually
where's the music? They're supposed to hit music, and then it covers up everything, and it prompts the audience to go, "Oh my god!" It doesn't get any better.
Even the sound guy was waiting for applause and laughter to hit the music, because you couldn't hit the music there. It was dead silence, dead, complete.
That was more.
So I put the mic in the stand. And I'm standing there.
A pro would have hit the music to save your ass if they were in tune with it.
Well, he's not a pro, this guy, because he left me up there. He's a
Bosnian.
Yes, exactly. And then I just stood there and I was like, and then so then you have to acknowledge it, because you can't just be like, oh.
This is where you get your laugh.
I expect. Well, I said, I expected a large laugh, and I would leave the stage on that. And I don't know what just happened here, but this has never happened. Whatever I'm doing, I'm fucking around. And then a guy to the left is with his family in like the third row. And the guy goes, hey, you forgot the line. You didn't do the line. The whole line sets it up. So I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Well, I go, who are you? I don't even know what you're talking about. And, but I'm happy to have some interaction, because I can play off that and get this, back on the rails. So the guy goes, we were here last cruise. We came back to see you again. This guy,
he waited for this is the bit, honey. This is the bit I was telling you about, that because you were off shopping. This is great. And then you didn't do the setup line, right?
And he remembers.
You did it in your head because you were starting to think about what you were going to do afterwards. Is that what you're telling me?
Right, but this guy, yeah. But how the hell did he remember? This guy saw me once.
It was probably the highlight of his cruise.
1 week ago.
Just as this was the worst part of his second cruise, you were the highlight. That's the irony. You were the highlight of his first cruise, and then you were the low point of the second cruise.
Well, I made him the hero last night. Believe me, because I said to him, I go, what line is it? Because at this point, I don't know. I'm out of my head. And I don't know what's going on. And I can't remember the bit anyway. It's an old, I'm like, I got to put these bits together, because I'm doing 2 clean shows, no adult material. So I'm doing an hour of clean instead of some, it's crazy. So anyway, I go, what is the line? Guy who I've never met, with his family. And he tells me. And then I go, oh, yes. God damn, yes. So then I go to the crowd. I'm doing the whole bit again. And we're going to get a nice laugh at the end. And here we go. And I started it like nothing ever happened. Did the line, did the whole thing. And then at the end, I got that extra crazy laughter, applause, because they were in on something fun. And you know what I mean? Where it became like a thing.
You're letting them in.
And then the crowd was going, yeah, they went nuts. And then they hit the music. And then the cruise director came out. And then we go backstage and he's like, was that real? Like, what was going on there? That was crazy. I go, yes, I forgot the fucking joke. And the guy with his family remembered it and saved me. And it became like a fun thing. And of course, today I've already run into 2 different couples who were like, we were at that show. That was they thought it was great. So it's one of those where you just go, oh, cool, good. Meanwhile, you want to go, oh, that was horrible. But they loved it. So
I think you handled it well. And that's the way to do it, because you're in the moment. You're human. You made it
right.
You let them in on, hey, this didn't go the way it was planned, because I was mailing it in. And I wanted to get my drink. But you handled it perfectly, rather than just like someone green would have bailed, and it would have been horrendous. Their next show would have been like,
it was set up. It could have been just.
Yeah, but you're a seasoned pro, so you were able to stop everything in time because of your experience, and go over it again and have a communication with the audience member. What is the line? Oh, but you were able to do all that, and the audience so appreciates that more than like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What was that? You know? So,
It's the same with like crowd work, where they think if something goes great with crowd work and they were at that show, they think it's special because you were thinking on your feet. This made it different for them. They were like, that shows, other people in the ship weren't at that show. When they talk about it at dinner or whatever, they're like, were you at the show where the comedian forgot the joke? And they're like, no, what happened? And it becomes a thing. But yeah, it was set up for horrible failure. If I didn't have experience or get calm in the moment instead of getting anxious, I got more, how you just get more calm. You're like, well, this is just dumb. Wait a second. What happened up here? And then thank God. I mean, what are the odds? A guy, he's on the cruise 2 weeks in a row.
Mm-hmm.
He's at both shows and he remembers the bit. I don't remember the bit. I fucking wrote it. I can't remember it. This motherfucker remembers it.
Well, I think it has a lot to do with
yell it out.
You just went 3 months.
Amazing.
And you had like, I think you have about half a dozen or so, 10 shows under your belt now, but you went.
And I never did
months.
that joke. And that joke was never done.
Oh,
never.
Okay. Gotcha.
That joke came out of the notes, you know what I mean? Like out
Right.
of the, and I thought, oh, that's a good one to close on. But I just, then, you go to bed at night thinking, what would I have done without that guy there? Like, what would it, I would have just repeated I would have repeated the whole bit in my head.
No, you didn't know that you didn't know you left a joke out. Now, it's not related, but related.
Very.
I was doing something that appeared to be off the cuff. We have our locked and loaded quivers and we look like geniuses when it comes out at the right time. And
mine are oral organic. I don't have any locked and loaded. Mine are all in the moment organic.
That sounds like a vegan hooker.
All organic. And her breath is horrible.
Horatosis. Thank you very much.
Hey.
A beautiful gal in my single days, a beautiful gal. She was like 5'8". She was actually a lawyer, and she was Italian and Irish mix, beautiful long brunette hair. I could see her when she came in. I could see her during my show. She sees me. She had a couple of drinks and she comes out after the show and she's like all over me, hitting on me. And then the next night she comes to another show to see me again. I do the exact same line that's supposed to be off the cuff. And she sees me. She goes, I thought you did that in the moment. That's like a planned joke. It was over. I did not.
You do like
I did not get laid with this woman who was coming back to screw me. It was just. It was
like
over.
the Seinfeld episode. You're a cashier. Well, you know what I mean? Like when she's like, your act was all fluff. It was nothing. He's like, you're a cashier. Like, fuck you. What does she? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's called an act, honey. It pays the rent. It pays the mortgage. What do you want from me? But yeah, she
just thought that I was this comedy god genius, like in any situation. And then when she saw the same joke the next night, she's like, you're not, I'm not going to bone you.
Wow. Well, that seems a little harsh. I mean, I remember seeing comics when I started and that same thing. Remember Steve O? Do you remember that guy, Steve O? I just
bumped into Steve O about a month ago.
Okay, not talking about the
not the jackass guy. No, the comedian from Long Island, Steve O.
Yeah, he had a ton of those quick where I was emceeing my first gig. He was the headliner in Virginia, and he had those kind of jokes where he'd be like, "Yeah, this guy, he's a real dickhead." What would a dickhead be? That would be what would that be like? And then I'm like, "Holy, this guy's thinking on his feet." I've never seen anything like this in my life. And then we do the 10:30 show. And he's like, this guy's a dickhead. What would that be? I'm like, oh, wait a second.
Hold on.
You fraud.
I can close this gig.
Yeah. And I still boned him though.
You still boned.
Yeah. Well, he's the headliner. So
yeah, you wanted to move up.
I had to.
I get it.
You got to move up the
Steve-O was one of the first. I moved to New York City and I was fresh out of college. I was 22 years old. And I went out to Long Island to work. What was it? Was it Chuckles or what was?
Sure.
Yeah.
Chuckles was Richie Minervini's brother. Chuck opened Chuckles.
Mm-hmm. Mineola? Was that Mineola?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
So I get the hosting gig. It was who was booking at the time? Oh, it was a big manager now. What's his name? Big Tim Allen's manager, Jeannie Garofalo's
Rick
manager.
Messina.
Rick Messina.
Rick, yeah.
Booked me to
A
host it.
bartender at Richie's Club back in the day.
And then Catch a Rising Star, kind of like a bouncer guy,
Mhm.
door guy. Hires me to host. Steve O is the closer. They say the owner, whoever says, or the manager says, you got to stay to the very end. Now I miss my train back to the city, and I'd have to wait till like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. for another.
The 3 a.m. I think there was one more. Yeah, there was one last one.
So I'd have to wait like 2.5 hours for this train. And so Steve said, "Oh, screw that." He goes, "You can stay at my place." He goes, I have a studio apartment above my parents' garage." He goes, "Stay there. We'll hang out during the day. We'll have fun." I was like, the headliner is inviting me to do this. I'm like, he's going to pull a move. I did the fold out couch. He had the loft bedroom. We had so much fun. I had dinner with his family the next night before our show.
Wow.
Super nice guy. I'll never forget him. And then I see him a month ago, and we did work together a few times after that, but he says, I have no recollection of you sleeping.
Well, he smoked a lot of pot.
He did.
High as a kite.
I think we got high that night.
And
I think we got high that night.
Yeah.
And he was smoking a month ago. We're at dinner, after dinner. We had dinner at a friend's house.
Yeah.
But his real last name
knew.
is Onch or Onk. Oches. Oches.
Yeah, I don't know how the pronunciation. Remember, I just remember working with him years later. We did colleges. We were with Omnipop together, and somebody was telling me about his hairpiece, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
And they go, "Steve, where's the hairpiece?" I go, "No, he doesn't."
Yeah.
And they go, "Well, you out of your mind? That's a piece. Steve's bald." I'm like, "What the?" It was one of the better hairpieces in the 1990s. I mean, I didn't know. So that's how good it was.
He was rocking a hairpiece.
Idea.
I had no idea either. No idea at
really
all.
Good one.
We get back to his place. He goes, "Hey, this isn't real." I was like, "What?" He goes, "My hairpiece." He goes, "So I take it off. I put it in its little stand. So you're going to see me."
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, it's not like my twin brother or anything that's lost his hair. It's going to be me." So he goes behind the door. He goes back, and it's like premature balding, like in his 20s. Yeah, late 20s.
Oh yeah, I picked him up for a college gig in the hotel. He was in the bathroom. He had the piece on, but he had a mannequin head on the bathroom counter. So it was like a bald mannequin head waiting, and I was like, "Ooh, holy shit, it's real. He's fucking bald, but
he owned
really a good one." Yeah,
it was really good. He owned it. Good looking guy.
Quality.
He had
quality rug.
He had like leading man film looks.
Yeah, so he did well on Star Search in the day, and but good comedian. I mean,
solid.
I don't remember any material, but I just remember killer. Like solid. He would get those kind of killer laughs for 50 minutes, and that's what you want in your headliner. Hey, speaking of which,
do we have
to say that even when it's not? We're not speaking of which. Questions. Yes. We have a question, sir, and you can ask a question. This one I put a question Facebook story, and it came on through that one. So here we go. Are you ready, sir? Here we go. Alfred is ready. He looks like he's concentrating. If you want to see what he's looking like right now, patreon.com/the2dicks. Join us, see the video. That's really the way to watch the pod.
And Mark Norman and Joe List are coming up on 5,000 Patreon members at $5 a month. And we're a little less than that.
And that's nothing compared to the Cum Boys, they're doing in the 20,000 members a month.
How can the dicks not have those kind of numbers, but the Cum Boys do?
It's
the dick comes first.
A backwards world. It's a backwards world. What can I tell you? Here we go. This question is from Karen Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald. She was a comedian in Tampa some years ago, and then she moved. I don't know where she went. I think she went up in your old neck of the woods, Maine or New Hampshire or Rhode Island. She's up
Do I
there
know
somewhere.
Karen?
But anyway,
Do I know you, Karen? Do I know you?
I don't know. So Karen would like to know, and I'll let you start with this one if you like. When did you know you wanted to be a comedian? When did you know you wanted to be a comedian, Alfred Ducharme?
Listening to my Bill Cosby albums. They weren't mine. They were actually my parents or my older
Oh, boy.
brothers. And I wanted, Bill Cosby was my guy. And I just never got
That
into the
didn't
whole,
age well.
No, the whole roofie thing didn't work out for me. I couldn't get the courage up. But he was one of my comedy heroes, one of my first ones. And I did like the physicality of seeing Red Skelton on one of those shows in syndication.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see it in prime time. Okay. I'm not that old. I got a few years, but so I knew I wanted to do then Jonathan Winters, and then it was the Jonathan Winters thing. And I wanted to be the kooky guy, and then seeing, of course, the George Carlin kind of like do his thing. But I never knew him as the guy wearing the suit. I only knew him as the hippy dippy weather guy.
Yeah.
So that was it. So in my very, I would say 7, 8 years old, I knew that I wanted to perform, and I would do lip syncing to music for my neighbors and my friends on my porch. I would stand up on the porch railing and next to the columns and I'd be lip syncing.
Did they want that?
Or
were they like, the kid, the fuck is wrong with that kid? Bring him inside. Were they enjoying this show?
They enjoyed it. I think they enjoyed me lip syncing
All right. Okay.
one song. And then by the third one, it's like, all right, it's enough.
You could put that on TikTok now and get millions of followers. That's all it is people lip syncing songs and, dancing. And you were ahead of your time, sir.
Do you know that I just assumed
I
I missed the boat on the TikTok, and I'm still just 2 days ago, someone's going, dude, what are you doing? You're perfect for it. I'm like,
we should cut up 2 Dicks episodes, a minute little snippets, and put them on TikTok. So,
all right, well, why don't you take
the
lead on that?
I don't have.
Oh, really?
I don't have.
Oh,
I don't,
okay. All right. Well,
I don't know how to
just
do
sit tight.
that.
You just sit tight, and I'll make you look fabulous.
So,
like I always
I was gonna.
do.
Yeah. Okay. I'll wait for the TikTok happening. But what's funny is because our styles are so different comedically. All those people you named, I don't care for or never did. I never liked Cosby. I never liked Red Skelton, and I never liked Jonathan Winters. I mean, to me, that was just like those guys are like, not interested.
Carlin?
Not well. Then Carlin, I loved, yeah. But I mean, those older kind of guys, I never got.
Well, they
into
were very.
them.
It was very impressionable to me at that very young age. Then
right, but our styles are different. Too,
I know,
but that would make sense,
right? But the efficiency of Jerry Seinfeld when he was on the Tonight Show, talking about cotton inside of a pill bottle, that Seinfeld. I didn't become that comedian, that style, but I really liked his style. The full arc of a joke.
A guy I used to watch all the time who I ended up meeting and now is going through a tough time was Kelly Monteith.
Right.
Remember Kelly Monteith on the Tonight Show? Mm-hmm. He was on all the time. I would watch him. I thought he was great. And then ended up working with him on some ships, got to know him, become friends with him. And now he's going through, they have a GoFundMe if anybody, you want to check him out and help him out. Kelly Monteith, great comedian, had a stroke. Yeah, a couple of strokes, and
he's being
cared for by his ex-wife. Yeah. Kelly's ex-wife was a Playboy bunny in the London Playboy Club, and he was a comic there, and that's how they met. And then when I met him, they had just gotten, or not, they'd been divorced, but she was living in his house. He was pretty. She had a hell of a lawyer, and he was fucking pissed about it. But it's interesting now to see. Cut to today she's taking care of him, which is amazing. They've been divorced 30 years or something. Wow. And she's really stepped up and helping them. So, but anyway, Kelly Monteith was a great comedian. Look him up if you've never heard of him, folks. He did 1 million Tonight shows. Guys like that, when I would watch and go, yeah, I really would want to do that. But as we've talked about here, I was like, I don't know how to do it. How do you do it? Like now you can just Google and there's 1 million ways. But when we were, teenager, getting older, how do you become a comedian? How the fuck do you do it?
Well, that was very nice.
It was a mystery
to say about Kelly and all that. But I'm still caught up on I gave you examples of comedians that inspired me in the very beginning, and you went, they were shit. They were garbage.
I didn't say they were.
You insinuated that. Yeah,
Red Skelton. I couldn't think of 3 more boring comedians. This is all I'm saying.
Oh my God, you're still doing it. I'm leaving that thing about your ex-wife.
Skelton.
Yes, he was doing vaudeville stuff on
yuck
network television.
He was doing 70s,
but he was doing stuff from his act that he had done in vaudeville, and he did some movies.
Vaudeville is dead, sir. Someone should have told him.
Well, what I'm saying is, I didn't live through that. I never saw anything. So he was taking something that one of the lost arts and brought it to television, and I saw it when I was a kid, and 7, 8 years old, it made an impression on me. And then Bill Cosby took it to the next level. And then I like Jonathan Winters for the same reason I like Skelton, because it was just out there kind of craziness.
Yeah.
But
no, my parents had the albums. I just found them. I would listen to them as a kid. I found them boring as hell. I like Bob Newhart. They had on record. I like that.
Do you know how many people think Bob Newhart is super boring? I don't.
How many people think Bob? What do you mean?
Oh, people.
The album was number one in the country when it was going against rock bands. Bob Newhart had the number 1 album, Button Down Mind of Bob Newhart. Look it up, folks.
And you'll see Bill Cosby up there too. Bill Cosby had number 1 comedy albums.
Yeah. I mean, he wants to play, he wants to tour again, or he says he does. I don't buy it. I think it's all bullshit, but I mean, the guy's 80 plus. He's not going on the road, but he says he wants to go on the road and tour. It's like, okay. I just like the fact because it's making female comics crazy. So I hope he does. You know what I mean? Because it makes them insane.
So you do align.
So I hope he does go on the align in that way that I like to see female comedians get insane. You know what I mean? They're just going to go nuts if Cosby's allowed to tour. They did with CK a little bit, but this will be even more. So bring it on. It
will be interesting. It will be quite the spectacle. And
yeah, Comedy Cellar.
There will be heckling. People are going to buy tickets to go heckling him. And
but they said this about Louis, and it wasn't that big a deal. It really wasn't that big a deal. People said that was going to happen.
Well, I think there is a difference. There is,
but I'm saying people said there would be these things, and it just never happened. Louis, went on stage and got a standing ovation when he got on, got a standing ovation when he got off, and everything's fine. He's not at the height he was, but I agree. I think Cosby's different, but if he put a tour together, do you think after 5 weeks they're still protesting and they're still heckling, or is it just
going to be it's going to be a Yoko Ono thing where people they cancel dates because she can't get people to go?
I don't understand the reference. I'm a fan. I'm a big Yoko fan, so I honestly am. So that goes nowhere.
You're
with me.
A big Yoko. See, there's. I think of that
because you don't know what you're talking about.
I think that I know.
You have no idea.
I think that I know you, and then this comes up.
Well, you're thinking of
Yoko Ono had like a bunch of dates on the calendar, and they weren't selling tickets, so they had to cancel them.
That's not true. I can't imagine that being true. Was Lennon? So this is after Lennon's death,
after the assassination.
Okay, and she couldn't sell tickets. I never heard that story, so I don't know if that's true or not. I can't imagine. I think there's enough people that would, Do you want to sell out the Garden?
This is the same thing that happened with the Mark Twain when I came up with a fact, and you said,
"All right,
no,
well, I'm not saying no. I'm just saying
I watched documentaries. I read about it. I've never heard any of that coming up before."
I don't know whose voice that is, but I'm stroking out. What
My name is Christy Brown. Have you seen my left foot? And we're out.
Anyway.
The Talking Dicks became friends at a very young age, and the rest is history.
I'm losing my mind.
Patreon.com/The2Dicks, which is named after our web series. This is the Talking Dicks Comedy Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
What?
Done.
I didn't kill my wife. I don't care.
We'll fix it in post, you son of a bitch.
Okay, sure.
All right. Subscribe. Mary.
Go to patreon.com/the2dicks.
If you shoot me, you won't see a cent of that money. Why?
I think it ends on that. That's beautiful.